All right, let's go get a coffee. What are we doing? The car was like honking at me and I was normally driving. Starbucks, coffee or matcha? I think I'm gonna do a matcha. That sounds good to me. Today's video is going to be a lot more chatty. I was thinking of what things are coming up, and a lot of you are going to college. I remember when I was going, I was so nervous. I only knew one person. It was moving far away from home, doing this new season of life, and I was just so scared for it. So I remember looking up YouTube videos of like, what to know for college, what to pack for college, all of those things. So I figured I would do my college advice video, what I wish I knew going into college. Also, it can apply to some different seasons of life. I know not everyone goes to school, that's not everyone's path, and that's totally fine, but this could apply to getting a new job somewhere, just basically moving out of your comfort zone and into somewhere new. I did stop and get a little Starbucks matcha that I drank pretty quickly. My order right now is a matcha latte with oat milk, extra ice, and a pump of brown sugar syrup. And it's really good. Before we get started, I have to put on some lip something. I feel like my lips dry out so fast when I'm talking. So I wrote some things down on my phone because I wanted to stay organized from like what I truly wanted to say. And I have a couple of categories. I have school, friends, and then self, and I have 5 tips in each thing, so 15 tips total. And then at the end I will do a list of supplies of things that I used in college that I'm like, you should definitely bring if you don't have this on your packing list already. So let's go ahead and start with the school related things, because college is school. You do not need to worry that you have to know what you're doing for the rest of your life. I feel like it is insane to me that at 18 years old, you're in high school one day just chilling, and then suddenly it's like, okay, and pick what you want to do for the rest of your life and get this major. If you are like most people, you change your major. I feel like you go in thinking one thing. It is not bad to change your major. If you get in and you're like, I don't like doing this, the sooner that you do that, the better. I will say my major was in communications, and I can't tell you like what I thought I was going to do that when I started school. Literally, I think I picked that major because I was like, oh, something with media. Communications, that's broad enough. It was like general communications, and I feel like a lot of my intro classes I still didn't really even understand what that meant. So I actually didn't change my major. I just did add a minor in PR as I got into it, which added a couple more classes. But yeah, don't stress if you don't know what you're doing for the rest of your life. You're in the same boat as I would guess like 98% of people, so no big deal. Don't worry about being a teacher's pet. Go to the office hours with your professors. I distinctly remember going into like professors' office hours and them being so happy that you took the initiative to do that. There was one instance where the professor was not so helpful, but that was like my one time out of the 10 other times that I did that. So don't worry about being a teacher's pet. It really helps you to succeed. And yeah, if you care about like your grades and in classes, I would recommend that. Locate your classes before school starts. This one is personally for me because when I did my first year at a community college, I was like, oh, perfect. I have a class from 9 to 9:50 and a class from 10 to 10:50. So I can go from one to the other. This is amazing. They were in 2 separate buildings way far away, and I didn't know where it was. It was like 200, but there was some random level in between. I was literally sweating first day of class, like running to get in, and I got in and had to take the last seat. It was the corner one right by the teacher's desk in the front row, and I don't really mind being on the front row that much, but it's like everybody's got to send a text during class at some point, and so like that kind of just screwed me over. And that was kind of my seat for the rest of the class, which it's not bad to sit front row, but I feel like especially in that season of like my first semester, that is not what I wanted to do. My tip for that is you don't know how far apart your classes are. You are picking your seat for kind of the rest of the semester. So my tip would be do like a mock trial, walk the campus, figure out where your classes are, and you'll be golden. Look online for books, Chegg, whatever those rental companies are, it's gonna be way cheaper. And I don't know if this is like great advice to give, but I didn't get any of my books until like the first or second week once those had passed, because I was like, let's see if we actually use them. Because the first semester I did, I got all my books, and then half the classes I didn't even open them. I didn't use them for tests or papers or anything. So it was like, why did I spend the money to get this? So take that as you will. Maybe you do want to get them to begin if you're like a little bit stressed about that. But yeah, if you do, definitely get them from a rental service online. Get a planner, get some colored pens, and make a master list with all of your assignments for the year. This one is a little bit type A, organized, girly of me. I get my syllabus from each of the classes, get my planner, and then I would be like, math class, purple pen, English class, blue pen, whatever class, red pen, and then any homework assignments, papers, whatever, I would write them in that pen color. It kept me so organized. I like writing things down on paper, but maybe if you're a Google Calendar girl, you could use the same thing and like put that down. But yeah, that was super helpful. So that is the 5 tips that I would give for the school category. So I hope that you can use them. Next up is the category of friends. I feel like this goes along with everything to do with the college experience. You do not need to change your personality, but it will be helpful for you to amp up the outgoing a little bit. At least in the first month of school, they'll usually have freshman events. Even if you aren't like super close with your roommate, if you just become friends enough to be like, let's the 2 of us walk together to go to this freshman event. My roommate was a sophomore, and so like she didn't go to the freshman event, so I had to go by myself, and I was like, oh my gosh, everybody is going to already have a bunch of friends here, and I feel so alone. Like, it was the craziest thing for me to go alone. Anyway, I went, I'm like mingling, meeting people, and I just remember talking to myself in my head being like, get over this, just go talk to them, just go pick up a conversation. And so like those things and telling yourself that is so helpful, because that's how you meet people. Like, you're not going to meet people unless you put yourself out there. Everyone is in the same boat as you, and I would guarantee that most of them feel the exact same way. They're nervous, they want to meet friends, and so they will be accepting and like open to talking. Next is to be a good friend from the start. Now, the friendships that you make your first semester might not be like friends for life. You could, you know, go through friend cycles, whatever, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be a great friend to them all. I feel like my friends in college really helped me to be like a really great friend. I had people in my life who was like, they were good listeners, they gave me great advice, they really cared about what was going on in my life, they didn't talk behind my back, and all of those things were like, oh man, we can become close so quickly because A, we're spending a lot of time together, and B, these are the kind of people that I want to spend time with. I wanted to be the same back to them. So yeah, be a good friend from the start to like create those quality friendships. Pick up hobbies. I loved like athletic things, so I did volleyball and spike ball and stuff like that. But even if you don't like athletic things, there's usually a lot of clubs. There's dance, which I guess is still athletic. But there are a lot of clubs of different hobbies that you can have, and having a common interest with people is like chef's kiss to getting to meet people, because you have an activity. It can take away a lot of the awkwardness, and I feel like there were a lot of nights that I would play volleyball until late, then be like, oh, what are you doing the next day, or like the next weekend or something like that. Also, that is one of the reasons that Josh and I got really close. We played volleyball together, intramural volleyball, and so it was like a great way for us to get to know each other better without the pressure of like going on a date necessarily, which isn't a bad thing, but sometimes it's nice to become friends first. Next tip, and this is like one of my favorites, is make things events. So a scrapbooking night or a beach day or a pool day, and like having little events that they can be free stuff. You can grab your Enos and go hammock, or I don't know, whatever you like to do, just make it a fun little event, and you will make so many memories that way that are more than just like parties or doing homework or different things like that. Actually, how I became friends with Greta, if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen Greta, is she was friends with like some of my other friends. My roommate and I, Rain, were going to the beach that weekend, and we had just talked to her, like hadn't known her that well or anything, but we were like, well, we're having a beach day, like going off to do that, so would you want to come? And A, taking the advice of making events, and B, just like inviting people to do stuff. And Greta was like, sure, like, yeah, I'd love to go, thank you so much. We went, had the best time ever, and like the rest is history, and we became so close. But it's like, because you're doing an activity, you have something to invite somebody to, and it's just such a fun memory of like making something happen, and it really pays off. Take the pressure off of having the best weekend ever, having the best 4 years of your life, getting into like the best relationship, or having this massive group of friends. We put so much pressure on ourselves, and I feel like with college especially, it's like you have to have everything figured out, and like these are the last fun years of your life, or I don't know, it's just, that's how I felt. Like everything had to be the best ever, and it's not true. Like, you will have amazing times, and if you put the effort out there to doing things, like it's going to happen, but every single weekend isn't going to be like the coolest thing ever, and that's okay. Like, it's okay to have rest, it's okay to just do what you need to do and not have that pressure of those type of things. And it's also okay that you don't have a huge group of friends. Maybe you meet like 1 or 2 really quality ones, or you don't get into that relationship, and like, it will be what it is. Everybody's timeline is different, so like, take a deep breath, and if you start to feel that stress and that pressure, just know that you're not alone, and you don't have to put all those crazy expectations on yourself. Okay, my camera battery died, so we are going to finish this up at home. Finished up with the first 2 categories, and next up is about yourself. Take college as the opportunity to discover who you are, which I know that sounds cliche, but at least in my experience, the like couple months, or honestly the year before I went to school, was kind of a hard year for me. I moved out of my childhood house, and then honestly we're like bouncing around to my grandma's house and our rental property and all of this. My friendship dynamics had changed. I was going to like a community college, dual enrolling, so it felt like things were everywhere. And I remember before I went, we're literally sitting down and writing a list, being like, who is Natalie? And I figured out I liked sushi. That was like the first time I tried sushi. I got back into reading. It was just like very, I don't know, normal things that you would think, oh sure, but at least for me, I felt like I was having this identity crisis. When you are in high school, a lot of who you are is who you surround yourself with, who you are in your family, who you are based on the sports that you play. And I feel like college is that opportunity to reinvent who you feel like you truly are away from all of those things. And number 2 is to look for jobs on campus. I worked in the admissions office, and I got that job. It was perfect because you get to take time off. Anytime the school had off, I would have off, and they worked around my class schedule. So I know that isn't always the opportunity for everyone, but in the first round of like looking for a job to make some money, I would definitely recommend checking out what jobs are on campus. The next one is a little bit contradicting some of the things that I said, but it is okay to say no to things. So as much as this is the time to put yourself out there, it also is okay to miss out on some things and kind of work on getting over FOMO. I'm definitely someone who struggled with FOMO, and I wanted to be at everything. The fear of missing out was like crippling to me. And the older that I got and more into college, the more that I realized that yes, it's good to put yourself out there and push yourself out of your comfort zone, but you missing one football game or one time of your friends going to the beach is not like you are left out of all of these things. And if you have to prioritize school or your mental health or different things like that, it is okay. Budget wisely. Now, I feel like depending on your circumstance, everybody is different. If you're paying for your own school, if you have to have a job, if your parents are able to help support you somewhat, you know, I cannot speak across the board for everybody, but regardless of the situation, figure out how much money you're spending each month and how much money you have each month. Because do you need to buy a coffee out every single day? No. But is it fun to buy a coffee out sometimes? Yes. Obviously, we all know those type of things, but it's really good to get in the habit of figuring out how much you spend and seeing what corners you can cut of like what things to say no to so that you're not spending all of the money you have. I don't even remember where I was in saying that. This is not to say don't treat yourself, because I think that that's important too, but basically just know how much money that you're spending. And the last tip is one that I wish that I had done, and it is to bring what you need. So I remember with my makeup, like I brought all of the makeup that I owned, and I think half of it was stuff that I didn't even use anymore. So do your makeup routine, figure out what you're actually using, maybe bring some of the extra things that you use when you're like really glamming, and then get rid of the rest. Same thing with your clothes. If it's something that you haven't worn in 2 years at home, you probably aren't gonna wear it when you're gone. So trying to like narrow down on that type of stuff, because most likely you will not have a lot of space to store a bunch of extra stuff. And then I have a little list of supplies of things that you may have heard of or may not have heard of, but at least I thought that they were useful. First up is extension cords and a power strip with extra outlets. I don't know anybody who ever had enough outlets. Bed risers, so those things that you can stick the dorm beds up higher so that you have more space underneath. The underneath of my bed was chaos always because there was so much stuff, but it was like literally some of the only storage I had. So getting some of that extra room is nice. I have heard of people like hurting themselves though because the bed is so high getting up into it. But regardless, I think that those are important. Cute bins. I had this little wooden bin that I would keep all my toiletries in, that it was easy to move around no matter like which dorm I was in. A shower caddy, something that if it gets wet, it won't mildew in it. I feel like the hard plastic shower caddies were my favorite because you could wipe them out easily. There was a girl in one of the freshman dorms who, no judgment because I guess this is what she wanted to do, but had a leather tote bag that she would put all of her shower stuff in, and when it would get wet it would just stay mildewed, and I can't even fathom that idea. I feel like at that point you might as well get like a literal plastic Walmart bag, because yeah, a leather tote is just not it. So anyway, a shower caddy, shower shoes, whatever you need for the good old communal living. A tall nightstand, I got mine at IKEA. It was like the height of my bed and it was perfect because I could put a water on there and my laptop and whatever else you need. My favorite thing to use for classes was a binder that I could put papers and folders in there, because I found when I got notebooks for each class, there were some classes I never even used notebooks, so you could kind of figure out how much you would use in the binder and allot that per class. A fan or a noisemaker in case you need to sleep with those noises. A bathrobe. I felt like a bathrobe I lived in because after the shower it was so nice to have something where you could just throw that on while you're getting ready. A mirror, because our dorm room had like a nice one on the closet wall, but some dorm rooms don't have mirrors, and so do you want like a full body mirror and where to put that, all of that good stuff. A big tip that I have is a thread wallet phone case. Oh yeah, right here. So they're these wallet phone cases, and when you have your student ID, which is basically your key to life at college, at least it was for me, you can just stick it in your phone case and you'll always have that. Wrinkle release spray. I don't think I ironed one thing in college ever. And then a cute water bottle. Always, I feel like most people have like a water bottle that they bring everywhere, but it's always a good idea to drink water, and I feel like there were some points in college it was questionable at how little water I drank, so a cute hydro flask, anything like that is kind of nice. A Brita pitcher. The water in our dorm was not good for drinking, and you don't want to be getting like a million plastic water bottles. A, it's not good for the it's not good for the environment, and B, unless you have somebody that likes carrying a heavy pack of water bottles up to the dorm, it's just not it. Get a Brita pitcher. Last would be vitamins. I feel like you're around so many people and it's easy to like get sick, whatever, so take your vitamins. That is it for my college advice and college list. Thank you so much for watching. I'm sending you with the best of luck in college. I hope the best of things happen to you. You meet amazing friends, but like I said in this video, don't put too much pressure on it and just be yourself, and good people will find that, and you will have an amazing time in whatever your journey is supposed to look like. So leave any comments of tips that helped you in college or things you would like to share with people, because I feel like we could all use a helping hand. Have the best week ever.